the same page here. And you can start with maybe your second line over and put a big old, yeah, put a 0 there. And then about 2 lines over this way, put a 1 there. So yours should be a little big and blown up there. Actually, I probably should have had you count. How many lines do you actually have between them, do you know? How many lines can you get in there?
27.
Uh,
I got 30.
Huh?
I got 33. I have 30.
How do we get 30? 33 would be perfect.
I don't
Okay,
have
listen carefully. The problem with using inches, children, okay, is that in order to get something smaller than an inch, okay, you have to use a fraction because we don't have a unit smaller than an inch. It's the smallest one in our customary system. So we're just going to start off by splitting this inch into 16 equal pieces. That means this. If you ended up counting 32 or 33 of them, for every other one, put a hash mark. In other words, you're going to skip. I need you to cut it into 16 equal pieces. You said you counted 33, so every other one, put a little hash mark there. Because it's going to go like this. You're going to go, this first one here is going to be 1/16, and the next one is going to be 2/16, but there should be a line in between. You actually have enough to cut your inch into 32 equal pieces, but I only want you to cut it into 16, because we're not going 32s today. And then Mrs. Stone will tell you what to do with it from there.
I will. You went outside for, you want them to change? Taken, well, because they're finishing some classes, one outside. Yeah, change.
Stay out there. That'd be good. And then 3/16, so you got a little hash mark, and then 3/16 and a hash mark. 4/16, I'm running out of room. I probably should have done mine a little closer together. I'm actually gonna cut mine into 16 like this. I need to cut that into 8s, I need to cut that into 4ths. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. So you should have something that looks like this. 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16, 5/16, 6/16, 7/16. And if you don't, you can always start over so that you can and make it look like this. 9/16, 10/16, 11/16, 12/16, 13/16, 14/16, and 15/16. You should have that on your paper there. Your lines are different? How can this be? Don't they make paper standard issue for you people?
You have wide rule and common rule.
Who's got the wide rule? The college rule should be good because that's thin and small. Oh, that's what you were supposed to get? Love it. Okay,
Why some people end up with 33?
That's what you're supposed to have. Yeah.
that works out very perfectly there. Perfect. Now, once you get all that, here's the reason that makes inches hard to deal with. The problem is, when we talk about fraction, we always have to use the most reduced form. And if you remember reducing fractions, I don't think we've done it this year.
No, we didn't last year.
Okay. The only 16ths fractions in your list that you are allowed to use are the ones that cannot be reduced. So you need the ones that cannot be reduced are these. 1/16 can't be reduced. 3/16 can't be reduced. 5/16 can't be reduced. 7/16 can't be reduced. 9/16. It looks pretty much like every other one, doesn't it? Okay? All of those ones with the box in it are okay for you to tell me that a line was that long. For example, if we were measuring a line and it went out to here, you are okay telling me that line is 9/16 of an inch long. That is just fine. It's beautiful. It's perfect. However, for other ones, it's not okay. For example, the next thing we have that's the next smallest unit are the 1/8 inch measurements. Okay, which would be these. Okay, this right here, 2/16 reduces down to 1/8. Okay, 4/16 reduces down to how many eighths? 2/8. 6/16 reduces down to 3/8, and 8/16 to 4/8, and 10/16 to 5/8, and 12/16 to 6/8, and 14/16 to 7/8. And I suppose one could be 8/8 if you really like. This probably could have been 16/16. Okay, now those measurements are okay to use as long as they can't be reduced either. In other words, if the line went here, which is 4/16, oh, I'm sorry. In other words, if the line, let me do that. If the line went here, which is 6/16, you have to say the lowest form, which would be 3/8, and that's okay. Okay, 1/8 is okay, 3/8 is okay, 5/8 is okay, and 7/8 is okay. None of the rest of them can you ever say. You'll never tell me a line is 4/8 long, or 2/8 long, or 6/8 long, because those can all be reduced again into the 1/4 inch mark segments. In which case you end up with 2/8 is 1/4, 4/8 is 2/4, 6/8 is 3/4. And I guess 8/8 is 4/4. And I suppose 0 is 0/4 if you really want to say it. Now, which of those are okay to say and which ones aren't? I can say 1/4 because it's reduced, and I can say 3/4 because it's reduced. But I can't say 2/4, and I can't say 0/4, and I can't say 4/4 because those can be reduced to the, what's next? The 1/2 inch marks, yeah. And in the 1/2 inch marks, we just have this. You have 0/2, you have 1/2, and you have 2/2. But 1/2 is really the only one you're going to say. And it makes a little triangle here.
Upside down triangle.
Okay, and here is what confuses people. What confuses people just a little bit here. What's going on with my wife? Okay. If the directions on the paper say, measure to the nearest 16th. Okay, and I measure this line, and this line goes all the way out to here. If I'm asked to measure to the nearest 16th, what 16th is it closest to? Well, it's closest to Mr. 12/16, but you're never ever allowed to say 12/16. You have to say the most reduced fraction there, and you have to say it's 3/4. So even though this says measure to the nearest 16th, you're saying 3/4 because the 3/4 inch mark is actually a 16th inch mark as well. And luckily for you, most rulers, rather than you having to count out all this stuff, most rulers make it a little bit easier because the 1/2 inch mark, they make it like second biggest only to the whole inch marks. And then every 1/4 inch mark, they make a little bit bigger than the 1/8 inch marks. So you can look at a ruler and quickly see, oh, there's 1/4 or there's 3/4. And 1/8 inch marks, they make just a little bit bigger than the 16th inch marks. so that you can take a look and quickly kind of see that. So they try to help you out a little bit on that. But you should be able to measure a line and give its most reduced fraction. What if I measured this line? How am I going to do this? What if I said measure this line to the nearest, what if I said measure this line to the nearest quarter-inch mark? This line right here, if it fell right here, what is the nearest quarter-inch that it would be? And your choices then, you rule out all the 8s because we're measuring to the quarter-inch. Your only choices are these and these. A half-inch is a quarter-inch mark as well. Which quarter-inch mark is this closest to, Alex?
8/16 or
There's no such thing as 8/16. What?
2/4.
There's no such thing as 2/4. Which quarter-inch mark? Is it closest to? Logan?
1/4.
1/4 is way over here.
Oh.
Which quarter-inch mark? And again, which one are the quarter-inch marks? Let me give them to you. This one, 0 quarters, 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarters, and 4 quarters. Which quarter-inch mark is that line the closest to? Caleb?
3/4.
3/4. 3/4 is a legitimate answer. What if, though, the line only went, what if the line stopped right there? And I said, which quarter-inch mark is it closest to? David?
Half.
Half-inch, because it's closest to the 2 quarter-inch mark. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, our measurement system is so much more difficult than the metric system there. And that's why if I asked you this question, which my father asked me back in the day when I was helping him work on cars, you know, he's in there, he's got his half-inch wrench out there, and he's trying to take a nut off the car, and that half-inch wrench is just a little bit too small, and he says, I need a bigger wrench. Go grab me a bigger wrench than a half-inch. Oh, great. That's a few, isn't it? So back to my question, he said, go grab me the next wrench that's bigger than a half-inch. What wrench do I bring him back? Well, here's the half-inch. What's the next biggest wrench from the half-inch? Lana?
5/16.
No, that's 9/16. 5/16 is here. Yeah, the next biggest wrench was a 9/16. Well, then he tried that one, and that wrench wasn't big enough either, so he said, okay, go grab me the next bigger than 9/16. So then you look out there, Sammy, and I'd have to bring him back the, yeah, I'd bring him the 5/8 one, and hopefully that was it, because if it wasn't, he'd get mad. Your mom already talked. Whereas with the metric system, if you're using a 10mm wrench, and he said, go get me the next size bigger, what is it? 11mm. So, what's the next size smaller than, 11/16? Next size smaller than 11/16 is a, Ryan?
5/8.
5/8. And it's easy for you to see now when you're looking at the board there. Okay, but if I turn Mr. Board off and I said, okay, I've got a 3/8, I'm trying to take off, what's the next bigger size than 3/8 without looking at your paper? What's the next size bigger than 3/8? Without looking at your paper, the next size bigger than a 3/8 would be, yeah, you're looking at your papers. I see it in your, I can see it in your eyes. Logan? From 3/8? That's a couple sizes away. 3/8, the next size bigger, well, you'd have to change 8 to 16ths. 3/8 is 6/16, so the next size bigger is, Caleb, 7/16. And then, children, don't fear it gets harder, because when you start adding 30 seconds onto it, which they do, okay, if you have a 5/8 wrench and it's how many 30 seconds would 5/8 be? Anybody know? We're not gonna go there. Take out your rulers then. Look at page 90, and I want you to measure letter E on page 90 for me. And tell me what you get. Page 90, letter E.